All right, and welcome back to the Monday Injury Report. It is Monday, November 30th, and I am joined, as always, by Dr. Mark Casimiro. What's going on, Mark?
What's up, Nick? How's it going? I'm full of turkey, stuffed full of turkey.
Yeah, I hope everyone out there had a great Thanksgiving, and hopefully, you didn't eat too much. You moved. Hopefully, you followed along with our couch potato workout a little bit, and you got up and got moving a little bit, and hopefully, you watched a little bit of football because we're going to talk about a little football, a little soccer today. So let's jump right in. I see we got a few people who have joined us live. If you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments, and we will answer those on the fly. Anybody that you might have for, there's a game tonight, possibly a game tomorrow. We'll see if they get any more cases of COVID. And then we move on to week 13 of the fantasy season. And then, you know what that means, playoffs are right around the corner. So let's jump right in. A couple big name guys who didn't play this past weekend. We had both Julio Jones out and Christian McCaffrey out yet again. Julio Jones with a hamstring. If you're somebody who's been depending on him, he's always right up there, first round, first, second round pick, right at that turn. If you've been depending on him, and he seems to come up on the injury report every week, but yet he always plays. Now he sits this game. Are you concerned about him, Mark, moving forward for week 13 and the playoffs?
Yeah, I would be. I mean, we've always talked about hamstring injuries on here and how, everything can seem to be going pretty well. And then, you move a certain way in the warm-up or practice on Friday, and then the player's out again, or they go into the lineup, they start playing on Sunday, then maybe a couple plays in and they have to remove themselves as they tweak their hamstring a little bit. So hamstring injuries can be really difficult to predict and see how people are going to respond to it. Now, the biggest thing is I think he's taken the last 2 weeks off, right? He didn't play it last week. He didn't play it this week. It's been 3 games. It looks like it's been 3 games he hasn't played. So, and he's a little bit older. He's got a lot of, wear and tear on those legs. I think he's in his 30s now. He's either 30 or 31. So I'm concerned that he's not still going to be out next week and might miss, any remaining games for the season. I think the big question is if the Falcons can string some wins together. The NFC is a pretty tough division. If they can string some wins together and make a push for some type of miracle again, the playoffs are obviously going to need him and they're going to want him. But if they lose, if he doesn't play next week and they lose, I don't know what the goal is to bring him back. Maybe just rest him and have him ready to go for next season 100%. I know people that have Julio Jones probably don't want to hear that, but I'm not sure if he's going to be a viable option for you these next couple weeks before fantasy playoffs get going.
Yeah, I mean, they came out yesterday and, put a beat down on the Raiders without him, which was kind of surprising to see. But, if you have him, maybe start looking at the waiver wire, looking at stashing him on your bench until you see for sure that he can come back out there and perform. Another guy who we talk about almost every week this season, he hasn't been out there much, and that's running back Christian McCaffrey. First, it was the ankle. Now it's the shoulder. He's missed two games in a row, if not 3. And, like I said, this is an all-important Week 13 game coming up. Do you think we see him in the coming week?
Oof, that's a good question. I'm still going to say no. I haven't seen any new information coming out about his injury. We might hear today or tomorrow that he's starting to practice a little bit, which would give you like a little bit more optimism about him playing. But the Panthers lost again yesterday. I don't think they have a very high chance of making it to the playoffs. And moving forward that Christian McCaffrey's got to be a big part of their team moving forward. I mean, he's their best offensive player, probably their best player on the team. And he does a lot for them, both catching the ball out of the backfield and running the ball. So I wonder if they're going to just sit him out the rest of this year and just make sure he's 100%, because that's the other thing. And the same thing with Julio Jones. Yeah, you could get those athletes back in the lineup, but there's nothing protecting them against further injury. So if Christian McCaffrey gets back in the lineup and now he takes takes a hit, exacerbates his injury or aggravates that injury, now he has to miss more time, or maybe they need to talk about surgery now, which cuts into his off-season training program. So like all these things, the decisions that you make now are going to have repercussions for next year. So I would say don't expect him. If you have him on your fantasy teams, I wouldn't expect much out of him. I don't know how interested the Panthers would have him coming back, even if he was 70% or 75% at this stage of the year when they, aren't really going anywhere this year. So I'm not sure that he's going to be a viable option for you going forward.
I was not watching something the whole time.
All right, hey, I'm on here live.
What do you think, bud? What do you think about Christian McCaffrey?
All right, go for it. Well, virtual learning. I'm sure I'm not the only parent going through that. So we're going to talk about Chris Carson. He's actually is going to play tonight. He's been out quite some time now with that ankle injury. What can we expect from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think if he's in the lineup, then you have to think that he's ready to go. We saw Joe Mixon, who missed 3 or 4 games, and we talked about it last week. They just put him in IR, which means that he's going to miss another 3 games at least. Chris Carson, I think, had a very similar injury to Joe Mixon. But the good news here is that, he took these last couple weeks off, these last 3 or 4 weeks off, and now he's ready to play again. That's a good sign. So he should be, in the lineup, and he should be able to contribute. So I think if you have him and you don't have really anyone else going, then he might be a good option. And obviously, if he gets through today, then definitely an option going forward the rest of the season. Again, that foot injury could be something that could aggravate it. But like I said, if he's in the lineup, then that shows that he's been doing what he needs to do during practice, and he's been feeling pretty good with it. So I think he's a viable option. He'll be good to go and good to use in your fantasy games as long as he comes out unscathed today.
Oh, yeah, I know this. I feel like a lot of these guys are talking about are players that people have depended on, when they drafted them to be their, RB1s, wide receiver ones, and they just, haven't been able to be out there as consistently as they would have liked. So the last player we're going to talk about, we're going to switch sports, go to soccer. We're going to talk about Raul Jimenez. He had a pretty bad injury over the weekend. He had a fractured skull. He is in stable condition now, but just talk about that when something like that happens. And what we can expect for like a rehab time for him. Will he, see the pitch again? Yeah.
So he clashed with one of the defenders on Arsenal. They played Arsenal yesterday. He clashed with one of the defenders, like a head-on-head kind of collision. And so when you're like an athletic trainer and you're on the coverage, like the first things you're going to is like, can this person like walk and talk and answer questions? And he was unconscious right from the get-go. So right away, as soon as you see that, you're getting the spine board out, you're going to follow protocols and make sure that everything is safe to get that player off the field to get him the medical care that he needs. So they had paramedics on the field, they had doctors, they had athletic trainers and physios and stuff like that. And then the first thing is, you go to the hospital to get, CT scans, x-rays, if there's a neck fracture, if there's a skull fracture. Obviously, they found a skull fracture, so they need to do surgery on that and make sure that he doesn't get a lot of bleeding into his brain and a lot of swelling, which can affect his brain function and stuff like that. So kind of a scary thing that in today's like medical world is not as big of a thing as it used to be. It's still obviously very serious, but the advances that they've made in medicine and stuff like that are pretty extraordinary. So that is one way to prove it, that this guy, he'll make a full recovery. He shouldn't have any setbacks along the way. I don't think he's going to play again until well into the spring now. So it's November 30th today. If you're looking at it, maybe 4 months from now, he's able to start playing, depending on how bad the fracture is and how it's healing. I would be surprised if he plays again this calendar year for his English team. But there are some big tournaments coming up this summer that he probably wants to be a part of. So I would say at least for the next 4 months, he's going to be out, if not longer, just depending on how everything goes. But kind of a serious thing, but it's good to hear that he's doing well now.
Yeah, I mean, a scary sight when something like that happens, but glad to see that he is okay and in stable condition.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, that's all I have for you today. Remember, everybody out there, if you're watching live or even if you're watching this after the fact, put your questions down in the comments below so we can, tackle those, those questions and those players and give you a good idea of when that player could potentially be back. Today is officially the last day of Movember. This is my growth for the month.
Nice, looks good.
If anybody hasn't done so yet, go out there and donate to Movember. It's a great cause for men's health, mental health, prostate cancer, depression, anxiety, all those things that men deal with on a daily basis. And we do have a performance team, Performance Physio Mo Therapy. So shout out to Dr. Jordan Madigan, who set that up for us. He's our PT in our Smithfield clinic. And he's got quite the stash going, as well as a few of our other PTs. It's tough to see with everybody wearing the mask, but I know they've got some great mustaches under there. So, Mark, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Nick. One thing I want to say to everyone, I gave blood this weekend, not to say like how great I am, but if you want to say that, that's fine. But there's a blood shortage. Go out and give blood. If you're healthy, go out and give blood. Everyone needs blood. There's a big shortage, obviously, with all the things going on with COVID, but that's still a very big requirement in the hospitals and stuff like that. So go give your blood if you're healthy.
Yes. Call, make an appointment, go give blood, because I know you can't just show up.
Right.
So make sure you call, make an appointment, and go do that. That is a very important thing. Thank you, Mark. You're a great person for doing that. I'll say it.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Have a happy, healthy, safe week. We'll see ya.
Peace.